Make sure you listen to my daddy's podcast right now. It's the best show in the world.
And this is the Cards Face Up podcast. I am your host, Mr. Ty Hill. Today, we got a special guest. You know what we do over here, those nostalgic moments that we like to build and bring together. You know, like I call it, you know, that shit that smell like something. The memories that smell like, you know, that kitchen that's cooking your mother's favorite food. It smells like your best days growing up. And this is one of those days. Today's guest is straight from Oakland, California. He's hip-hop royalty to us. You know, he's hip-hop royalty, not only as a solo artist, not only as a two-man group artist, but he's a member of the first alternative hip-hop rap group, in my opinion. You feel me? It might be more, but mainstream-wise in Baltimore, to us, this was the first alternative mainstream hip-hop group. You know, their music went from funk, and they brought it in a form of rap to us. You know, they made it the type of music that we ain't hear. They brought fun back to the game. They brought laughter to it. They brought not only good bars, but they brought happy moments. You know what I mean? He also happened to spit with some of the illest legends to ever exist. And some of them have already preceded us and went to heaven and things of sort, but they legends. You know, we talking Shock G. We talking Tupac Shakur. We talking, I mean, even Big Pun. They came all the way over the East Coast. And, you know, listen. Like I said, it was a time that it was gangster music. It was at the height. And they came out with songs. We talking the Humpty Dance, same old song, Kiss You When I Kiss You Back. Y'all remember it, right? If y'all don't know who I'm talking about yet, I'm going to just say the name. Today on the show, we have the legendary Money B from Digital Underground. Welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Oh, man, thank you for having me. Look, I'm about to bring you on the road with me, man. That intro was crazy.
What? Listen, brother, Listen, brother, I could talk for 5 minutes. I just don't want to kill the audience for watching, right? But you deserve everything that I'm saying, and that could be even longer, brother. You deserve it. We thank you for your contributions to hip-hop, man. We thank you for stopping through.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Let's get it right on, man. First, I'd like to ask you, how you doing, brother? How's life treating you? Everything good?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. You know, another day. Man, every day we wake up, right?
Amen. Amen. I had to get that off my chest. You feel me now? Like I said, you not only from Digital Underground, but you also from a two-man group. You know, you started out with Raw Fusion, and
right.
It's you and DJ FEUD.
Word.
Tell me, how did y'all two end up with Digital Underground, though?
Well, like you just mentioned, Fuse and I were a group, and shout out to Mac Moan, who was the third member officially of Raw Fusion. You know, we started out our original name was MGM, which stood for Mac Moan, who was our other member, Goldfinger, which was DJ Fuse's original name or the name before DJ Fuse, and Money B, MGM. Of course, we had to change the name, right? Because we didn't want to get in trouble with nobody. Shout out to our manager at the time, Sleuth. Yeah, man, we was in the Bay Area, just really pounding that independent talent show demo tape circuit, just trying to get on, trying to be heard and be seen wherever we could. And, you know, around the time, this is like, we officially got together in 86. So by, 87, 88, we was out there. We felt like we was ready to go. And at the same time, there was a group called Digital Underground. They had a single called Underwater Rhymes that they were promoting. So we would be on some of the same shows. And it just so happened that they needed a DJ. At the time, DJ Fuse, he was like the hottest DJ in the Bay. You know what I mean? He was killing the game. And, and shout out to some of the other groups that were on those same shows and trying to get on just like us. There was the Flynamic Force, who later on became Sway and King Tech, Sway from Sway in the Morning.
Wow.
You had DJ Automator, Dan the Automator, who later on started a group called the Gorillas. Mellow Mar, K Cloud. It was a lot of cats, man. We was just all grinding. Capital Tax, OG. If you're from Oakland and the Bay, you know Capital Tax is. But we was all just trying to get it. And we're all, to this day, we're all close because we were part of that same wave, that same struggle, trying to get on. But Shot Master Jay from Digital Underground, him and DJ Fuse had a mutual friend. They set up a meeting in my mama's house, because that's where Fuse was renting out a room in my mama's house at the time. So I'm sitting there watching them, and Fuse is like, yo, I rock with you, but you got to rock with my guy, talking about me. And that's kind of how it started. So I kicked off. And obviously the relationship grew from there. But in the beginning, we would do the Raw Fusion show. And then when Digital Underground would come on, me and Moan would be the dancers for Shock, while Fuse would DJ their show.
Okay. So Fuse kept it loyal. That's how you ended up in that spot. And you proved yourself.
Yep. That's my brother from another. Forever.
So I got a question that I don't think I ever heard nobody ask, or at least get a real fucking answer. Brother, how many members is in Digital Underground?
Bro, we're not even a group. We're an army. Always. we're that real army, not a Navy, but an army. Man, there's so many that came about, like, you know, and I tell people, like, DU, we really weren't a group per se. We were like just a huge production team, you know, so, but everybody had talent, and, you know, cats that just came in and out. You know, I could go in with, like you said, Saphir, Mystic, you know, the Loonies is part of our collective. Razzcast is an unofficial member. You know, Cletus Mac, you know, Raw Fusion, Tupac, of course. Gold Money was a group that was signed to Tommy Boy. Even Dave Hollister, you know, he sang on Keep Your Head Up and Brenda's Got a Baby before he had his deal, you know, and he came through Chop Master Jay. But I'm just saying, like, all of these people that were part of our collective. Bonnie Boyer, you know, she sang on Kiss You Back, but she also sang with Prince. Pee Wee from Gold Money went on to produce and be a part of the Dangerous Crew with Too Short. Who else? Man, I could just go on and on. You know, Fuse, he DJs for Dave Chappelle from time to time on the road. So you got the Mechanics. If you're familiar with the Bay Area, the Mechanics, if whoever your favorite artist is from the Bay Area, the Mechanics have produced for them. Then that goes from Mac Dre, Too Short, E40, Mr. Fab, us, me, anybody that you know out of the Bay. The Mechanics are pretty much, you know, the sound of Oakland, sound of the Bay, like OG mob music. And one half of the Mechanics, 4 Racks, is from Digital Underground. So even, you know, people you don't even know, we got our reach is even relevant to this day, you know. Like, I could sit here and bore you for a few more hours telling you all the people associated with Digital Underground, but it's a lot.
No, it's dope, man. Y'all are like, you know, I think I heard you compare it to like a Wu-Tang Clan, right?
Yeah, we were Wu-Tang before Wu-Tang. I always say that. But, you know,
I think go ahead.
But when I say that, you know, before us, you know, there was the Juice Crew All-Stars, you know, same sort of thing. Everybody had their own solo situation. Marley Marl was the glue, right? Shock G was the glue. RZA was the glue.
No, that's dope, man. When I was thinking about just all the connections that I've heard over the years, I'm like, yo, Digital Underground is a long ass group, like literally connected to everything, man. So when we talk about what Digital Underground brought to the game, you know, that funky sound, you know, I think I labeled it in the beginning alternative, because that's what the world want to call it, but it was more like that boosty sound. It was that funkadelic, just, you know, it was different. How much of the Bay is to credit to that? Because, you know, we over here on East Coast, I'm from Baltimore City, so, you know, it's different over here. And when we got that funk still resonated to us, you know, and that's why we were still over here singing and rapping it along with y'all. You know, How much is the Bay to credit to that? Because we see artists like E40 that's also from the Bay, right? And we see almost everybody that came from the Bay has started something new. It's never just jumped on what was hot or what the Bay sound has been created.
Yeah, we definitely moved to the beat of our own drum in the Bay Area. And just, the history of the Bay, man, is so diverse. And it's always been about just freedom, free to be who you want to be. I mean, you can go as far back as like just in the 60s with Haight-Ashbury and Jim Morrison, and even with Sly and the Family Stone. You know what I mean? Just be who you are, right? And so that's, in the Bay Area, it's accepted to be different. Different is accepted. It's like you don't have to be the same. That's why, and I know what you mean. Like in the mid to late 80s, it's back when everybody had to have a dookie rope and had to hold they shit, and be as tough as fuck. But we didn't have to, right? And one of the reasons too, in the Bay Area, there were no major labels. It wasn't New York, it wasn't LA. So even when we were trying to figure out how we were going to do our stage show, we didn't have anybody to tell us how to do it. We just had to do how we felt. We did have MC Hammer and Tony and Too Short before us, but I'm just saying, like, it wasn't prevalent. So, everybody had their own style. And remember back in those days, you didn't want to be like anybody anyway, right? Remember back when you say if you sounded like somebody who's biting that shit. So, you didn't want to sound like anybody, but it wasn't like if you didn't sound like that person or you don't sound like us, we were going to reject you. So at the same time we were coming up, you did have, Too Short, you had E40, you had us, you had, then you had Souls of Mischief with, the Hyro Crew, Conscious Daughters, Spice One. We all had our own sound, but we all existed together and we all appreciated each other. And we all supported each other the whole way through.
Got you. Is the Bay known for pimping? Is that like
absolutely?
That's what it is for real.
Yes.
Because I watch people.
The movie The Mac was filmed in Oakland.
Oh, I didn't.
And I was like real pimps and Macs in that movie, and it was shot like it was some real shit. Like they had to get back in the day. They had to, how now y'all say all that you got to check in and all that.
Check in.
They had to check in with the players in Oakland, the pimps, to be allowed to be able to shoot that movie. And even a lot of real pimps and players was in that movie.
Wow! Shout out to the Bay. And I asked that because your style, you frequently spoke about, bitches and hoes and sex and shit like that. Same thing with Too Short and shit like that. That's what made me ask, like, they talk, y'all talk slick. I think the way y'all even said bitch, it don't offend a female. Like
right, yeah, it's all about the game. Like you just gotta have game about yourself. You gotta know how to talk about it. And that's really what it was. So you gotta have a way with words to move around where we come from. And that's embedded in us. It's the culture. Like you said, like E40 making up all them words. And like you said, we just call it game.
That's real. So I'm going to tell you something that I just now found out, and only found it out because I was researching, right? And I'm like, Shock G, Humpty. My whole damn life, I knew they was the same person. But I'm looking at it, and we ain't on the box no more. You remember we used to watch the TV, the box and shit, so you can rewind and shit. So I'm looking, but you can pay for it
and play it again, right?
Yeah, my mother ain't never allowed that shit. So, but so when the nigga ordered the video, I got to watch it, right? And I didn't pay attention then, but Humpty and Shock was in the same fucking video. And I'm listening. I hit my OG up. I said, "Yo, how?" I'm like, "Was graphics that good to make a nigga?" He like, "I don't know, bro. How was Humpty and Shock G in the same video?"
Because we always had somebody that could help us keep up the facade. Meaning, if you watch same song video, that's Shock's brother, Kent, dressed up as Humpty Hump. And he toured with us. So that's, and we always had somebody that either looked like Shock or looked like enough to play the Humpty character that in videos and on stage, we could play with people's minds like that. The one thing was we never could really find the person that looked and had the charisma and the character and could also rhyme and spit. And, you know, we finally did. And that's Yung Hump, who is the newest member of Digital Underground and the last person that Shock actually indoctrinated into the group. And Yung Hump and myself, we toured representing Digital Underground on the road as Money B and Yung Hump, you know, so we are the current touring configuration of Digital Underground. Yung Hump. Just wanted to give my man a shout out. But yeah, so you know, back then, and Shock did it purposely, man. He was just a genius. He was always thinking. And we pulled it off because, like you said, people grew up, became adults, and never knew that it wasn't two people.
Yo, that I swear it was just the other day. It killed me, right? I'm like, how the fuck did they do it, right? So that was dope. Even down to watching, you know, just the other videos or watching on stage performances and stuff. I'm like, you know, just doing my research. I'm like, yo, shit is dope. How? So you just now told me something. So his brother was touring with y'all. Y'all had other people that was, you know, so what, they just had dead microphones? Or they was actually? Nah,
it was dead microphones. So while, you know, his brother on tour, he's at the front of the stage and he's got on all of the shit, right? Looking like Humpty. And, you know, you're not paying, you just amazed at Humpty, but Shock is over at the corner spitting the rhymes when we on stage. Obviously, it's easier in the videos because, you know, he's just mouthing it, whatever. But even on stage, we were able to pull it off.
Anybody ever caught y'all and pointed it out?
Yeah, people be like, I know. And we'd be like, you know what? And they'd be like, stop fucking with me. I was like, we'd be like, what you talking about? Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right.
That's funny as hell.
And so even when people that were on the road with us, you know, like say Public Enemy or Kid and Play or whatever, obviously if you're on the road, you're gonna know eventually, right? But even then, when they first find out, they just be like, okay. And they help us to continue, you know, the gig.
That's dope. I was gonna ask you about the Kid and Play. Y'all toured together. Was it was Kid and Play and who else? Because I got some backstage footage that I saw, not backstage, some like blooper type videos or something. Y'all beating somebody up playing. And
well, when we did a few tours with Kid and Play, but I know we did the Public Enemy tour with Kid and Play. And it was Public Enemy, Queen Latifah, Heavy D, Kwame. It was a bunch of us. But, you know, for me, you know, because we did two tours with Big Daddy Kane, and off and on, you know, 2 Live Crew would jump on some shows, you know, be over here with what's my man? It's gonna come back to me, but it's like from 91 to like 93, 94, we did so many tours, like I forget who was on which tour because it just seemed like one long thing and we were all family. So, you know.
I got you. I was y'all in Flavor Unit, Queen Latifah and them, y'all both were signed together. So I'm guessing y'all
Yeah, so we probably did the most touring together. You know, Queen Latifah was on Tommy Boy. And we were on Tommy Boy, as was De La Soul. And then later on, Naughty by Nature, Apache, remember Gangsta Bitch? That was my man. But but us and Queen Latifah, you know, we toured Japan, we toured every tour that we were on or that she was on, you know, we were on together. You know, Tommy Boy would just put us on together. We were, you know, Europe, Germany, all of the US tours. And
Got you. So how did it come about, right? Nothing, the movie, Nothing But Trouble with Dan Aykroyd, legendary Dan Aykroyd too. How did y'all get inside that movie as Digital Underground? The whole group.
Remember, I just told you that De La Soul was on the same label, right?
Mhm.
And so, from what I understand, we weren't Dan Aykroyd's first choice. De La was, but because De La, they were either they were touring something, they were tied up where they couldn't do it, and so Tommy Boy was like, "What about Digital Underground?" And he was sort of familiar, but not very familiar. And we invited him to a show we had. We were on tour, and we just happened to be sliding through LA at the Palace, which was a big venue in Hollywood at the time. And he came through and saw just how we rocked the stage and how animated we were, and he loved it. And the rest is history.
Now we can't say the rest is history because I heard history was y'all got Dan Aykroyd high.
Absolutely.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it is true. He came down, smoked the blunt, kicked it, and was like, "All right, fuck it, let's do it."
That's dope as shit, man. So how was that experience being on a movie set? Because that's all of y'all first time on a movie set, right?
Yeah,
even down to Tupac.
Yep. That was his first time, and it was just fun, because we're on set and John Candy and Dan Aykroyd and what's the other bro name from Saturday Night Live? I can't think of his name right now.
I know who you're talking about, though.
Oh, come on, what's his name? He was one of the funniest ones. It's gonna fuck me up if I don't remember his name. You gotta look it up.
I'm about to now.
Demi Moore was in that movie, but we never met her because she wasn't in any of the scenes that we were in. Look, we all here look nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble cast. Chevy Chase.
That's
yep.
If you're gonna say it too, I'm just now getting to that. Yep. So it was Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, John Candy, Demi Moore. Pete Aykroyd. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't tripping off of Pete Aykroyd. But yeah, so just to be on set and all of those guys being super cool, super nice. And we were on set, I want to say 8 days to be in the movie for like a minute and a half, right? So that was my first time experiencing that. And so, that's how I learned. It's like, it's hurry up and wait, because we used to have to be on set at 6 a.m., right? Just to be there all day in case they needed us. So we'd be there the whole day, just chilling, catering, whatever. And they don't get to our part. Well, see you guys tomorrow. You just had to be there in case they needed you.
What was the premiere like? Did y'all do a premiere, like red carpet event together? Or?
Bro, I didn't go to no premiere. I saw that movie. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I went and saw that movie in Berkeley, uptown Berkeley, right across the street from UC Berkeley, the campus. Because I went to, for a bit, I went to Berkeley High, right? So that's, they used to hang around up there. And I went to the movie by myself to go see that movie. I sat in the back of the theater and I watched it. And as the movie was going, I started to shrink in my seat. I was like, oh, this is a bad movie. But so it's crazy that it became like a cult classic, right? But I wasn't excited about it when I first saw it. But I paid to go see that thing.
I don't know if it's a good movie, right? Like you said, it is a classic. I don't know if it's a good movie though.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but it's just a cult classic. People, some movies are so bad that they're good.
Yeah. Yep.
What's a comedian said? Flavor Flav so ugly, you cute.
I know.
What's that comedian? I think is either Samora or one of them from back in the day. He's like, Flavor Flav, he's so ugly, he cute.
Nah, I know. But
that's
yeah,
how the movie was.
I agree. It was one of those. You feel me? So I want to jump on, right? Let's go into the Digital Underground days now. I heard you speak on dancing and shit like that, right? Money B dance. It's always been said that Tupac Shakur, when he came inside the group, he was also a backup dancer. He was a roadie. But as I've been doing homework, it don't seem like he came in the group as a roadie. It seemed like he came in as a member. So can you
He
correct
did.
that for us? Was it a roadie?
Yeah.
Because they make him seem like he was just a nigga that was carrying bags, which is cool.
Nah. So he came in the group as a member, but we all had to carry bags, you know. And then when he came in the group, you know, he like in a football team, he's the rookie. So he had to do the rookie things. You know what I mean? But he was still a member of the group. And he would, and I always tell people, they were like, well, he was a dancer. I was like, well, what was I? Right. And they was like, well, you was Money B. I was like, well, every time Tupac was dancing, I was dancing. He did the same shit that I did. It's just that, you know, I had a few records that I was on that you recognize, but he had some spots in the show where he get to touch the mic. He used to do, he did Packet Man with Shock. And then at the end, we you know, be able to spit. So he touched the mic. We both was dancing. We both was doing all the shenanigans on stage with the blow up dolls. And after the show, you know, he had to help Fuse break down. But we don't call Fuse a roadie when he's breaking down his turntables and shit, and doing all that other stuff. So, I mean, you know, there always has to be some sort of narrative, right? Or we have to attach, you know, we have to attach or give a label and say, this is, you know, this is what that person was. Bro, he was in the group. He was the new nigga, so he had to, you know, do new nigga stuff.
I got
That's
you.
it.
How late did Pop come in the group? Because I know Same Old Song is the first one that we really heard him on.
Right. Well, Pac was around while we were recording Sex Packets. But he was in another group. He was in a group, excuse me, called Strictly Dope, which was himself, Ray Love, who went on to have success as a solo artist, and DJ Diz. They were signed to TNT Records, which was the same label we were signed to, started by H. Gregory, who was the manager of Tupac and Digital Underground. So they were always around from the beginning. But when Strictly Dope broke up for whatever reason, H.R. retained Tupac as a solo artist. And so the one big tour that we went on that he didn't go on was the when we toured Europe for 2 months, because Do What You Like was really big in Europe before the Humpty Dance was out. So we were bigger in Europe before people really knew us in the United States. But so he missed that because he was still with his group. But when we got back, Humpty Dance came out, started to blow. We was getting ready to go on our first national tour. H.R. just asked Shock, you know, it's taking a little longer to find Pac's deal. Can you guys go on the road? Can he go on the road with you guys? Because if he's just sitting around not doing nothing, I think I'm going to lose him. And so we already knew Pac. He was already the homie. So he was already part of the family anyway. So, you know, it happened.
Yeah, okay, that's dope. That's dope. So then we get Tupac, you know, after some touring, we get the Pac that goes on to be in Poetic Justice. But even in Poetic Justice, he's still touring with Digital Underground, right? Y'all still?
Well, he would, so after Juice, and then he got Poetic Justice, you know, now he's a movie star. He's doing movies. But when we were on the road touring, when he would have a week off or whatever, he would fly out and meet us on tour and just ride with us and do the shows that he could do with us. So, and then I think we had one tour where it was like the DU family. So it was like Gold Money, Raw Fusion, Tupac, and Digital Underground. At the end, we all got back on together. And Saphir was on that tour. But yeah, you know, even during that time, he would come do shows with us and rock.
Got you. Was it different though? Not him per se. How was the fans though? I'm talking about the fans' reaction. Was that different than a normal? Because Digital Underground already had the shit jumping, fans on.
Yeah,
and all
and
that
now
type
he
shit.
popping. Yep, absolutely. Because so when he was filming Poetic Justice, he would come out, but Poetic Justice wasn't out, so everybody knew him from Juice. So that's everybody, yo, the Bishop, he crazy. And when people would meet him or they'd be around, there was always people or the rumor, oh, Tupac, he think he Bishop, or he acting crazy like he this and that. But people don't know the way that he got that role was because we thought Bishop reminded us of Tupac. You know what I mean? It felt like it was, bro, that role was his because it was him. You know what I mean? That's how he was. He was really like that. And actually, I tell people too, by the time you guys knew who Tupac was, he had got a little older. He was maturing. He had actually calmed down by the time y'all knew who he was. He was a wild guy back in the day.
Wow. So how did y'all see the role before him? How did y'all see it before he actually even got the role? Did he brought the script around or something like that?
Because the script was actually given to me. I was the one who actually had the call to go audition to be in the movie. I was going to audition to play the role of Steel. The guy, Steel.
Lean on me.
Yeah.
You smoke dope, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, the role he played was the role that they wanted me to audition for. And I knew that Tupac had, he had went to school for acting and he was an actor. So I was asking him to help me read and, to help me get ready to read for the role. But as we're reading the script, I'm like, bro, this nigga seemed like you, right? And then, between us in the group, we was like, man, we should see if Pac could read for it. Because I knew I couldn't act, right? And I knew, I was like, so one of us need to get it, right? And I felt like if he did, we all felt like it. If he did, then, he probably had a greater chance of getting the role. And the way that I got the script, we were under, I think, William Morris agency with Kara Lewis. And that's who gave us the script. Okay, they got me the script and said, hey, Money B might be good for this part. So when we realized that Pac should read for it, then Atron, made some calls and we kind of, however it happened, we hooked it up so that he can go to the audition as well. So on the day of the audition, I went to audition for Steel, Tupac went to audition for Bishop, and Tretch went to read for Q, the role that Omar Epps got. But all three of us were reading, and we were actual friends. Pac and Tretch were like best friends. So, we were thinking that'd be super dope if we all got the role and we really are friends and we did a movie together. Obviously, I bombed. Crickets.
How bad did you bomb? Because Tretch still got a role.
Tretch got in the movie because Pac put everybody he knew in the movie that was on the East Coast at the time. If you was around, you was getting a role in the movie. If I was out there, I would have been in the movie too, right? Okay. Big Stretch was in it. Yo-Yo, that was his girl. Yeah. She was in it. Everybody had a cameo. I bombed bad. Like I went in the audition room and what's his name? Ernest Dickerson and all of them. And they was like, yeah, read this. And I'm fumbling, like I'm nervous. And they was like, well, say this. And I had to read the role. Like my guy just got killed and I'm supposed to react. And in my mind, I'm thinking, shit, I know niggas that really got killed. So I didn't start crying and all this, and they wanted me to get dramatic. And I was like, but that's not how I would really act. Because I do know niggas that got killed. Right. And they was like, okay, thank you. Okay. I walked out, the room was all quiet. The room was all quiet. So I'm waiting out there. Pac goes in And as soon as he finished, they standing up, clapping, cheering and shit. And he come out, he's like, bro, I think they like it. I was like, nigga, you got that shit. Because he was like, they want me to come back and read again. We was like, boy,
Oh,
you got that wrong.
oh man. So that's funny as shit. When you walked when they walked out, I mean, when you walked out after your part, what they say? Anybody? What Pac and them say?
Nothing. I think I went in first. So when I came out, you know, everybody in the waiting room is still reading and trying to get their shit together because they about to go in there.
So they
When I
prepping
came
you
out,
coming out with the
yeah, I'm coming out with the sad face. Whoa, 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 whoa. The Price is Right. You lose music.
oh shit, man. So you say Pac. Now keep in mind though, you know, I'm from Baltimore, like I said, so we got a chance to have a Pac, and Pac's actually from the same neighborhood that I grew up in as well.
Oh, word.
You know, I'm from yep. He's literally.
So you know Mouse.
Mouse Man was on my show. That's my guy.
Tell Mouse I said what up.
Yeah. Mouse was trying to get you on here for me.
Oh, word.
But yeah,
I
man.
gotta check my DMs. I don't know.
You know, but shout out Mouse Man, yo. Definitely shout out Mouse Man. But you know, a lot of people speak about the change that Oakland did to him, right? The change that happened to him versus when he was in Baltimore versus the Tupac that everybody got. Now, we're talking about, we can't even go on to Death Row yet because Death Row was just a short part of his time, right? And I don't think a lot of people even realize that shit. It was so short. You know, what, as Pac is doing, because Mouse Man and them did, what, Strictly for My Niggas with him. No, they did Tupacalypse Now. Y'all did Strictly with My Niggas with him, right?
Yeah, we did both. Like, during Tupacalypse Now, I probably was in every session, you know, because we had Starlight Studio blocked out, Atron and TNT Records, you know, like 24 hours, it was a 24-hour block out for like 2 months because we, you know, Raw Fusion, Tupac, Digital Underground, and Gold Money, we were all recording albums at the same time. So we would all have 8-hour blocks. So it was just a 24-hour cycle. So, you know, me and Fuse had 8 hours. And as we're leaving, Tupac's coming in for his 8 hours. And a lot of times, you know, in my sessions, we drinking and partying. So by the time Pac coming in, you know, party just keep going because he got the weed and, you know, we just keep it rocking. So we would all leak into each other's sessions a lot of times and just, you know, be there. And so, you know, a lot of that first album, I was just there kicking it. And that's how, you know, that's even how I got on Brenda's Got a Baby, or even Fuse produced Violent on that album. I mean, Violent, and all of the background vocals is me and Mac Moan. And you know, there's a lot of songs. If you listen to Tupacalypse Now and you know my voice, you'll hear me. You'll hear me on the hooks and doing ad libs and just, you know, interludes, whatever it is. Like because anybody that was in the studio, Pac would be like, "Hey, go do that," or "Come say this, do that," and we just hanging out. So it was cool.
Was it the same thing on your project? Because you're doing your project at that time too. You had 2 solos, right?
It was. I think with the Raw Fusion album, it was the same thing, but me and Fuse kind of had. It was like we had our plan. We already knew what we were going to do, meaning we were, you know, me and Fuse. We, for one, like I said, he was renting out a room at my mom's apartment, so we lived together. We had the 4-track studio in the crib. So we had made the album. We had already made the album, if that makes sense. So all we were doing was re-recording our demo and what we had already done in the studio. Whereas Pac, he was creating while he was in the studio, if that makes sense.
No, I get it totally.
Right. So the first time you were hearing these songs was when he recorded it in the big studio. Whereas me and Fuse, we had 4-track versions of every song that we were going to do. And we were just coming in trying to recreate what we did at the house. But Pac is on the first album. Number One with a Bullet. It's the song that he's on the first Raw Fusion album.
Okay, got you. That's the one before the cartoon drawing. That's the one right before that, because the second one is the cartoon drawing. Pac is actually on that cover.
Oh, you talking about this is
Digital's. Yours wasn't cartoon drawn. Digital's was cartoon drawn.
Yeah, you talking about This Is an EP, which was same song. That was the first record that he was on, and that was basically our soundtrack we did for the movie, because Tie the Knot and Same Song were in the movie.
Gotcha. I know we back and forth, man. Y'all history so rich, man. Your history so rich. How it feel? I bet just to jump off real quick. How does it feel to hold so much fucking history? Like, yo, you like a history book now. You ever dreamed of this? Like, you're not only a star, you're a history book.
No, that it's the truth. You know, that's why I have my show, Going Way Back show, and that's why, you know, I'm finishing up my book, my autobiography, because I do have a lot of history. And, you know, you actually, like, when I say it, sometimes people be like, but it is the truth. Like I feel fortunate, right? Because me loving hip hop growing up, all I ever wanted to do was make some records, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that Big Daddy Kane calls me, you know what I mean? Or I have Rakim's number, or, you know what I mean? The cats that I've idolized before I got on are actually my peers and friends and shit like that. It's like, bro, like, and also the fact that I was able to make some music that I know is forever a part of hip hop history is also the blessing as well. So, like, I've achieved everything I wanted and more in this game.
Man, if niggas, and that's the thing, you know, I know you said, you know, it's hard to be cocky, even though it's real, right? Even though it's honest, right. You just a humble spirit, right? And you're a humble spirit. But reality is this: we could do a 5-hour interview about Money B. We could do a 5-hour interview about Shock G. We could do a 5-hour interview about Tupac Shakur. And you can provide all three. Like, that's it.
Yep. We could talk another hour or two about the Public Enemy tour, another hour or two about the
you got Queen Latifah stories.
Queen Latifah stories.
That's a quiet one. Nobody tells the Queen Latifah stories, man. That's a quiet one.
Yeah, I mean, shit. You know the song They Reminisce Over You, you know, about Trouble T-Roy. Nigga, we were there when that incident happened.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we witnessed the whole thing. And then we had to, you know, lead a tour and go to the music seminar, and we were the ones that shared that information with the hip hop, you know, community, you know. So yeah, man.
I reminisce. That was my shit.
Word. Man. I talk about it in my book. You got to go get the book.
No, we going to, man. We're going to let you plug that too. Let's jump into, man, how do we get to the, hey, yo, what's up, love? How you doing? Well, I've been hanging, slanging, trying to do my thing. Oh, you heard that I was banging? Your home girl, you went to school with? That's cool. Look, I sound just like you. I don't want this to get clipped, yo. I know I sound just like you, though. I
and your cousin thought I wasn't. Good.
Weekends are made for Michelob, but it's a Monday,
right.
My day. So just let me hit it. Yo, how did that come about? Was that like, you know, Pac is venturing on his own? You know, that's the second album, right? That's
strictly.
That's not Tupac now. Yeah, that's
strictly for my niggas.
How did that come about though? You know, how did y'all get back on there? He like, yo, I want y'all two on there. Was it like just a shout out for, you know, Digital Underground giving that love back, or did he just hear y'all voices on the song?
Well, that beat was originally a Digital Underground track. It was, you know, it was supposed to, Shock made it for Digital Underground record, but we took so long to write to it, and everybody it was just floating around throughout the clique. We knew the track was hot, that it was a hit, but niggas was scared to touch it because we didn't want to fuck it up. And then finally, Tupac's album was the next one within our collective that was due. So Tupac was asked Shot for a beat, and Shot was like, this is the one everybody going crazy over right now. Take that, because ain't nobody did nothing. So Shot gave, he lifted it and gave it to Pop. Pop turns right around and was like, yo, I want y'all on it. It's like that.
Wow. And I hear.
Because Shot produced that, right?
I did know that, but what I didn't know is Shot didn't write his verse.
Nah, Tupac. So what happened was, Pop, he was a perfectionist, or he just wanted it to get done, right? So he wanted us on it. And at the time, he was living in LA. So he had to send the reels, the 2-inch reels to record on down back up to the Bay. And he just wanted to make sure it got done. So he was just like, in case y'all too busy, I'm gonna write rhymes for y'all. So all y'all gotta do is just come say what I said. So, he was just trying to make it the least, as easy as possible for us to get on the track.
So he wrote both of y'all.
He wrote a verse for me and a verse for Shock. Shock used this verse. I didn't. Nah. I wasn't fucking with it. I was like, nope. Doing my own shit. But if you want to hear the verse that he wrote for me, listen to Death Row's Greatest Hits. And they got like it's called, I think it's the I Get Around remix. They put some different beat. But all they did was take my verse off and pull up the verse that he wrote for me. That's why. Nah.
That's funny as shit.
It wasn't mine.
When did we get the change, man? When did we get the change? Like I said, the Baltimore homies say, as soon as we went out to Oakland, it changed. I don't get it credited so much as the Juice movie, although I hear people outside of Baltimore never know they credit it to the Juice movie. But
because that's they don't. Well, that's the thing. They credited to it because he left, and then the next time they seen him was after the Juice movie, so they felt like that's what it was. But
what was that's what I want to know. I'm gonna give you an easier question to make it, be more direct. What was Marin City hot like when he first came in?
That's what I'm saying. And even so, here's the thing. Think about it like this. When he left Baltimore, he had to leave Baltimore because his mom was going through it, with the drugs and everything. So even before he left Baltimore, things were changing, right? He was happy in Baltimore, but as the drugs started to tear the family apart, that was where the change started. Then he got sent away. So now he's apart from his, and gets sent to Marin City, where is that's the projects. And he's basically out there on his own with nothing. So he and it's it's wolves out there.
So he kind of just became.
If you gonna always say if you gonna live in a zoo, man, you gotta learn how to talk to the animals. You gotta speak snake, tiger, bear, all that shit. So he had to adapt and as humans, man, we all have this a survival mechanism, right? If something's hot, you ain't gonna touch it. If it's wherever you at, if you're gonna survive, you have to adapt to your surroundings, and that's what he had to do. And not only that, he's stressing out because his mom is not in the best, situation, and he's sleeping on somebody. He's sleeping from homie to homie, spot at one point, sleeping on the couch. He don't got nothing he can call his own. Probably got maybe two pair of pants. Because I remember when he first come around, his gear wasn't fresh at all.
So you think Pac just became a kind of product of his environment at that
Absolutely.
moment?
You had to.
Survival of the fittest, right?
That's fucking
reality.
But he still was the same intelligent, compassionate person that he always was. And he wasn't trying to act like he didn't, because whenever he was able to, he would I won't say let his guard down, but his real self was like, even from the time I met Pac to the time Pac was no longer with us, every time we were together, it was nothing but mama jokes and just laughing and hanging and kicking it. But as soon as it got serious, he'll get serious. Or if you try to play him, he didn't bite his tongue, and he couldn't stand to feel like he was being treated as lesser or disrespected. Because remember, I just told you, when he lived in Marin City, he didn't have anything. So all he had was his respect. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that he could claim, is like, I don't got no money, I got no gear, I don't even got a place to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, I have respect for myself, and you're going to respect me. And that's kind of like, that's how he had to move.
So I wanna go over a timeline, right? Because
Mhm.
again, Mouse Man, all the niggas from Baltimore that came up with him, it came down there with him when they was working on that Tupacalypse Now album.
Or,
he had some real homies with him. He also had the OGs, and I consider you an OG now, but then you damn near the same age as Pac. So at that time, y'all
yeah, I'm
had
like a year and a
Shock as
half
the OG.
older.
Yeah, y'all had
Yeah.
Shock as the OG back then.
Right.
I noticed everybody shifted away. I'm guessing by 93, 94, everybody kind of shifting away from Pac. Pac is growing into this big star, and he said the realest shit. I think, I ain't have a record until I had a record, and that's the crazy shit, right? So now we have the Tupac, the incident in Atlanta, right? Got the incident in Atlanta. That's the shooting with the cops. Then we got the rape incident. We got, I think the shooting might have came first. This is the shooting with the cops. Then it's him getting shot at Quad Studios. Then it's the rape incident. No. I don't know which fucking order that is.
Get it together, man.
Which one was it? It was what? It was the Quad before the rape? Allegation?
Well, let's stop saying rape, because he didn't rape anybody.
Well, it was allegation.
Okay,
That's what it was.
I'll accept that. Okay.
So we have all of that. What's going through y'all mind?
Well,
because y'all ain't thinking about hip hop.
he got shot. He got shot while he was going to court for going to court for all of that stuff, because he was he had been shot, and he was in the court bandaged up at one time. So I know that part of the timeline. All of these incidents, Atlanta, and all the shit that happened in New York, I wasn't there, right? So I can't really specifically speak to exactly what happened. But, I've spoken to one or two people that were at, a few of these situations, and, I don't even know what your question was, because you're saying this happened and this happened, but
no, because I don't really. It's not about what really happened. You feel me? Because we all got our opinions of what happened and shit like that. It's more about asking Money B as being family of Pac. Is the phone calls coming through? Like, are y'all talking now? Are y'all figuring out, like, bro, you okay? Because I know ain't nobody asking, is you innocent and shit like that, because that's not how homies do anyway, right? But it's more of when it's family and brotherhood, because I got homies that know him personally, and they never talk to him through none of this. I was just like, how? Like, what's going through your mind as a family member?
Well, okay, so I'll just talk from my perspective, right? So, at the time, like, he's moving around, he's doing his thing, and he's becoming a bigger and bigger star, right? So, you talk here and there, but it's not like you just pick up, at least for me, around, 93, 94, Digital Underground had basically peaked, right? 95 was sort of like just a dead year for us, right? We had got dropped from Tommy Boy. I want to say 94. We got dropped from Tommy Boy. And it was just like this year of not knowing what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And so I got my own problem. Like, not like I got my own problems, but I got my own problems, right? I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And you see the homie going through shit and you're like, damn. But I got to wake up every day and figure out how I'm going to make it, right? And, I think one of the things that, I wish we would have talked more, but we just didn't. When and remember, we're all 24, 25. So we thinking we're going to live forever. So they like, oh, let me see what's happening with bro. It's like, damn, let me get through this. And when we see each other, we're going to have a conversation, right? Because we actually did have a conversation last time I saw him in 96, right? But just around all that time that all that stuff was going on, I didn't have no cell phone. So I had to get somewhere with his dial up and, call a nigga. I just, like, even when he was locked up, I didn't even have the money to go fly to New York to go visit him. I should have wrote him, but once again, I was just like, man, what I'm gonna say? I'm fucked up right now. I didn't want to bring that.
No, I get it totally. I question it, and the only reason I ask that question is it's something I don't really see people ask, right? And it's hard again.
Yeah.
It's money be on the show. I mean, he's got 1,000,001 fucking interviews, not to mention his history is so rich that, but I asked that question because I've seen you speak on Pop. I've seen Shock speak on Pop. And when y'all speak on them, y'all don't speak on them from an artist standpoint. Y'all don't speak on them from what he do musically. Y'all niggas speak of him like family. So I was wondering, what those family conversations might have been like. So, you said you had one in 96. Can you share that with us? What was that conversation with your brother?
Yeah, I mean, part of it was that he was, because when we first met Pop, if you go listen to Tupac Lips Now, it's very socially conscious album, and that's where he comes from. His mother was in Black Panther Party. My father was in the Black Panther Party, so we were raised similarly. And that's another thing that we kind of sort of connected on, or like when he was talking that, I knew exactly what he was talking about. So in one of our last conversations, I was talking about, because All Eyes on Me had just come out, and he was just telling me that he was going to get back to doing that. He just had to knock down these couple of albums, but he was definitely going to get back to some of the stuff that we knew him for doing. And I believed him, and that's the fucked up part about it, is because he never got a chance to evolve. Because just like, your guys in Baltimore, oh, he went to California and he changed. Well, we all change, right? If I hang up this phone and I walk out, I get locked up, somebody in my family get killed, I see some niggas die in front of me, I do a bid, somebody, people I trust, they robbing me, or I think they robbing me. I'm gonna be a different guy than who I am now. I'm not gonna be the same guy. You feel me? Like, we all evolve, we all grow. So to think that he could ever, and plus when he left Baltimore, how old was he? 16?
Like 16, yeah.
Well, how could he be the same person? Well, shit, I'm not the same.
That's how changing you.
I'm not the same person. I wasn't the same person at even 25 that I was at 16. And I'm definitely not the same person now that I was at 25. Right? So what we do, people always want to claim something as theirs. Pac is not Baltimore's. He was never Marin City's. He was never Oakland's. He was Tupac. I think everybody in Baltimore should be glad that they got to share the experience. You know what I mean? Because regardless of what you say he did or what, I bet you every one of them niggas was like, yeah, I knew Pac.
Of course.
You feel me?
Of course.
that was my man, and then something, whatever. But they gonna start it off with, yeah, I know that nigga. Or man, he from around the way. He used to. They gonna talk all about the shit he used to do. Well, fine, he used to do it, and then a lot of shit because when I saw him in '96, he wasn't the same person that was with us in '92. He was less goofy, less jokey. And he was, he's wearing Gucci, he was dressing different, but shit, he had been through a lot. So understandably, he changed.
I got you, man. R.I.P. Tupac, man. That's
Word up.
Really a big part. Because Pac is one of my inspirations, you feel me? I think one of the shit, it's something that the game needed, but like you just now said it.
Yeah, and before we move on from Pac, one of the things that I always say, he died at 25, right? And so remember I talked about how he said he was going to get back to doing some of the music and some of the things, Pac at the very core, he loved his people, right? He thought he could save the world. And I knew that as he would grow, like we all grow, he would definitely, that would probably be, one of his life's calling to get back to that. And, I remind people, at 25, Malcolm X was Dirty Red. He was a hustler in Detroit. But look what he became. Pac never was allowed to grow into that, which I knew that he would be. He was a leader.
I totally agree. I say that shit all the time. Yeah, and it's the same thing that we're seeing today. We don't see a lot of these artists get a chance to actually fucking mature. You give any nigga $1 million at 21, 22 years old, it's gonna act the ass. I mean, it's just reality of it, right?
Trust me.
You give me $1 million at fucking 38.
I probably would be on this call right now.
Like, it's different, right? So, I think people forget to say that, forget to add those shit. And he was trying to do this, he was trying to do that. My honest opinion of Pac, I ain't never get to meet him. You feel me? Like I said, I got some big homies that know him personally. My honest opinion of Pac played a great motherfucking part of what he was trying to do. Call it acting, call it whatever, but he understood how to get the attention. Attention is a motherfucker. I get your attention, I can give you anything after that. I just need your attention.
Yeah.
He got stuck in that point of getting the attention and then giving you what he wanted to give you. You feel me? And that's because I don't think he wanted to give all of that shit that he had to give, but he had to make motherfuckers listen.
Yeah, he did. And he had to, he was trying to be strategic, like you said, to do what he needed to do to get the attention, to get people to listen and to, get to the next point, but he just got caught in that matrix of what was happening at the time, and it was probably a little too much, right? A little more than he could handle. So young
with all that fucking power, man. That's a lot of power. Did you ever get a chance to see? I had Napoleon on here. Shout out my homie Napoleon Outlaws, Muta. That's my man. I apologize, Napoleon. I'm not calling you Napoleon. No,
yeah,
move. Shout out my man. You feel me? I don't want no smoke, brother. I got nothing but love for you. But did you get a chance to actually be in the presence of Pac and Biggie?
Yeah, of course.
During their relationship as friendship, not the aftership, but the friendship part.
The friendship part of that's what I'm talking about. Like I met Big through Pac. They was the homies. And so, when we be in New York, Big would come through. Even when one time, a couple of times Big came to the Bay Area, I asked him, I see him, I asked, you need anything? You need some weed? You need girls, whatever? He's like, oh, I'm straight, just need some weed or whatever. We had a couple of interactions outside of Tupac, but mostly, I know Big as Pac's homie.
Okay. Now, we got the loss of Tupac and we got the loss of Big. Then we still got Digital Underground. I know you said 9-5 is a slow year, right? But then we still got Digital Underground. They back at it. They moving again, right? And
yeah,
East
96,
Coast,
it popped back up. We got to, jump right back in it.
Yep. So the East Coast, West Coast. Suppose I'm gonna put quote for the people that's just listening to audio. I'm putting quote signs up because I don't believe it's a fucking war. But anyway, you got the East Coast and West Coast war quote going on heavy. Digital Underground still comes to the East Coast. They fucking with East Coast artists. Who y'all had on the album? Fucking
KRS-One, Big Pun,
KRS-One.
Biz Markie.
What made y'all cross that line of? Because we still thinking Snoop and them done already came through and pressed the buildings, right? Like it's still some crazy shit on. What made Digital Underground say, man, fuck that. We fuck with both sides. There's only a few artists did that at that time, man.
Anybody that had been established and was real knew that it was just fabricated. It wasn't real. It never existed. It was something that magazines talked about. And there were, and sorry to say, people outside of the industry, most of us are sheep. We just follow and bite into it. And we want something to be involved with. So, oh yeah, let's do it. And then new artists, it's their chance to get on. So they want to latch onto it and be a part of this thing. But bro, I'ma know Busta Rhymes for 5 years, 8 years, whatever, grow up with this man in the industry or DJ Premier and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, just because an article come out or Pac and Big, two cats I know, they got a disagreement. Now I'm supposed to hate everybody on a whole coast, right? And besides that, I'm originally from Philadelphia. That's where all my family is at. So what I'm supposed to do? Tell my grandma don't call me no more?
We beefing, Grandma. You know what it is.
Word. Or my cousins and whatnot.
But that's dope, though. So that's, oh, man. See, that fucking back to the original conversation that Funk, the Digital Underground put into it. He gave it to the Bay, right? We know that the Bay create nothing but fucking new people that create into the world. But you and Shock both got East Coast influence too. You, right. Shock and Pac both got East Coast influence.
And DJ Fuse. Fuse is originally from Syracuse, New York. That's where he was born. So, Fuse from Syracuse, Shock from New York, Queens and Brooklyn. Of course, Pac, New York, the Bronx, and Baltimore, and me from Philly. We all have our roots on the East Coast. So it's just like, it wasn't even nothing that we ever even thought of. Like, this is dumb, right? So, it was Shock's idea. It was a concerted effort to get with the OGs like us and be like, bro, this shit is fake. Let's do some music to show that this is not real. So once again, we got with KRS-One, Big Pun, Biz Markie. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else on that record. But at the time, Shock was actually living on the East Coast. He was staying in the Poconos. And that's where he recorded. Yep. He recorded most of that album on the East Coast. And then, then he came out on the West Coast and we did our thing. Because I was still in the Bay at the time.
That's dope. That's something I never put together. I didn't know that you was from Philly. I didn't know that. That's
yeah, North Philly.
I didn't know
Fuse
was either. Oh, you from the trenches. So that's dope, man. So I want to get into, Shock passed away, rest in peace, Shock, 57 years old, right? But before that, and you mentioned and touched on it earlier. Before that, he gave you the blessing to do music and recreate y'all shows, basically, right? With Yung Hump, right?
Right.
Do you think like Shock was like, because that's some non-hating shit, right? Like that's right. You don't see that type of love, right? Like just in general, you don't see that type of shit. Nigga wants something of it, wants something from it. Even I heard that he was letting him actually use the whole name at first before he even changed the name, and he introduced y'all. Is that true? Can you? where that blessing, where like you think Shock saw like, you know, my time is limited, because I still feel as though Pac thought his time was limited. You know, you think?
Yeah, that's why he did
that?
so much. He had to get it all done. He was trying to get as much done because at some point he felt like, you know, this might not end well. Whether it be the gangster shit he was in, or whether it be the police or the government, you know, because they was on his ass as well. Which, you know, I have my theories of how everything worked out, but that's another podcast.
I agree, though. I would love to do that. We're gonna do that on yours. I want to be a part of that one.
So, what was I saying? So, you know, Pac, he always wanted, you know, Shock, he was a giver. He gave way more than he took. You know, he always wanted everybody to be happy. He always wanted to, like you said, share the blessing, right? But, you know, Shock was a musician before everything. You know, he was at home on the keys, right? So even when he, you know, introduced me to Yung Hump, said, y'all go do the shows, because, you know, I'm a B-boy. I want to do it like how we've been doing with the records and just keep it rocking. Shock wanted to do like a more musical version of the show, acoustic live with keyboards and upright bass and, you know, whatever, you know, and be a band like he wanted to. So he knew, he's like, yeah, take Yung Hump, y'all go do it how you want to do it, and I'm gonna do it like this. But also, you know, at some point we had talks about doing a big reunion. And the one thing that Shock always wanted to do, he just wanted to play music, but he always had to dress up and be Humpty and get out stage. You know, Shock he didn't even call himself a rapper. You know, he was a musician. He rapped because that was a way to get his music out, right? But that's not what that's not where his heart was. His heart was with the music, making the music and performing and playing the music. So, you know, to give you an example, Shock never got to play the Humpty Dance bass line on stage because he always had to be Humpty. You know, his dream was to just be able to, the whole show, be the piano man and rock. So, you know, a little while before everything, you know, went crazy, you know, there was talks within our collective of, you know, we're going to do this big reunion. And Shock was like, yeah, man, you know, it's dope because now, you know, Yung Hump, he got it. He, you know, he could do all those parts and I could just be Shock G. He didn't have to go back and forth and keep undressing and dressing up and all that. So that, you know, that was his get out of the whole situation. But, you know, he really, you know, he did it because he also, at some point, I didn't think Shock really cared for the stage like that, you know. So, but he felt like he still wanted to feed the family. And because he didn't want to do it, he was like, you know, go ahead, man, get out there and get it popping. Because, you know, we never did do that reunion. And at a point, you know, even when me and Yung Hump were performing, he was just on hiatus. And, you know, there was always offers and we would talk and he was like, I'm not ready yet, you know, but it's, you know, it's going to be a time we're going to get it together. And I believe in his heart of hearts, he really believed that we were going to do it. But I knew that it wasn't going to happen tomorrow, if that makes sense. You know, a lot of people were, you know what I mean? So, you know, I wasn't holding my breath for it, but I believed him when he said he wanted to do it, because I know he really did want to do it, but he just had to, he was going to do it when he was, you know, when he was ready to do it. And when it was the, you know, when he was ready, meaning when he was right to be able to go do it. And, you know, I think us, you know, our family, Digital Underground, you know, we also wanted to protect him as well, to make sure that he didn't get out there too early, you know. So it was like, take your time. We got this sort of deal.
That's real, man. We know for a fact, and Money B, I know I'm holding you, man. This shit is history for me, so I'm not gonna hold you long. A nigga always say that before they hold you long, right? I'm not gonna hold you long, nigga. You've been holding.
I ain't gonna hold you.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I ain't holding you though.
Give my arm back, nigga.
But nah, real shit, right? So I know for the Resurrection movie, right? You're credited for doing some editing to the script for the Digital Underground part, right?
Okay.
I heard that you helped them with the Digital Underground scene inside not the Resurrection.
You talking about All Eyes on Me?
All Eyes on Me. My apologies.
Yeah. I was a consultant on there. Yep.
Okay. So
shout out to Benny Boom, LT Hutton.
Shout out them. So let's because I watch you, right? I watch you as you explain Pac. I watch you as you explain Shock. I watch you go through these emotions. Like that shit is crazy because I know how I feel to talk about loved ones, right? And I watch you go happy, sad. It's all in your face. And for our people watching, you will see it. But these are real life emotions, right? So I want to know the Money B movie. You get a 5-minute movie, and you could build that favorite moment in the studio, yo, of what happiness and music means to you. What that shit look like, man?
It looked like me and Fuse. Well, it looks like all of us at Starlight Studio, just doing it for the first time. You know, it's always, you know, the best times. It's like even, you know, the best times is when you're realizing that your dreams are coming true in real time, right? You're like, this shit is happening. And, you know, just the recording of Sex Packets, the recording of even, you know, same song when, you know, seeing Pac get on for the first time, knowing how much that meant to him. The recording of Sons of the P, where, you know, George Clinton comes and blesses us, you know what I mean? Because, you know, George and Shock, they became like father and son.
I say they wanted them.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's why, you know, Sons of the P, because George dubbed them, pulled them in, you know, officially. You know, Shock was part of the movement. So, and then to have George and I can't think of, God damn it. So I get on an interview, I can't remember all my niggas. But, you know, just the whole, all of them come in, Funkadelic and Parliament, and be in the studio with us and recording with us. I know how happy that made Shock feel. You know, that's validation that, you know, he felt the funk, and he felt he had the P in him, and they validated that for him. So all of that, you know, it's me, like I said, me and Fuse recording the Raw Fusion album, or just recording the Sex Packets album. It's Pac recording the same song. It's Shock finally recording with George for Sons of the P. You know, that's my 5 minutes would just go, and you would see all of that shit. You know, us being on stage and having talks with Chuck D, a Public Enemy, and him, you know, telling us how we gonna act on the road, and Big Daddy Kane invite me into his hotel room with 20 girls in it. All that shit.
I wanna, hey, for all my listeners out there, right? Money B don't even know that he just now did it, but he just made a request. Y'all remember the old fucking picture that had all of the hip hop stars on there? You remember it was the picture with everybody head on top of everybody head and shit back in the day?
Word.
Yo, we need a motherfucking Digital Underground Money B picture like that with all those memories that you just named framed up. That shit'll be so dope. You get what I'm saying?
It would be.
That shit would be. Hey, I'm asking my artists, man. Y'all need to get that out to Money B ASAP, man. Start working on that. I want to know what's next, man. Like I said, I ain't gonna hold you, but we do have Money B, Yung Hump. Shout out to Yung Hump too. I know I didn't say it earlier, you did, but shout out to Yung Hump. You feel me? We got him coming too, man.
And DJ Always, the homie.
DJ Always too. You feel
Yep.
me? Shout out MJ, man. MJ pulling
Oh,
some
yeah.
big shit off for us. So MJ gonna pull that Yung Hump off for us as well, right?
Absolutely.
What's next for y'all, man? Is we just getting the classics of Digital Underground, or is we about to get some fresh new Money B? Like, what's new, man? I know the book. Make sure you plug that, please, because I need to go out and get it as well.
Bro, where do I start? Okay, so let's just start with the book. You know, my autobiography, A DU Party Don't Stop. And you hear the title, A DU Party, you think that I'm only talking about Digital Underground and Tupac and just hip hop in the 90s. That's not what the book is about. It's about my life. And my life, I feel like, you know, and as you can probably tell, it's a history lesson. You know what I mean? It's American history because, you know, like I said, you know, my father was in the Black Panther Party. So I grew up in that environment. You know, I went to the Oakland Community School. Huey P. Newton actually gave me my diploma, put it in my hand, right? So, you know, I met Rosa Parks. She came to the school and people would come to the school. So I grew up that in the 70s. And then in the 80s, you know, all of us had to survive the crack epidemic, you know, but the Bay Area and Oakland is one of the places where they dropped that shit first because obviously to break up the Black Panther Party and all of the movements that were going on there. So it was like,
sorry to cut you. Did you get to experience the breakfast from the Black Panthers and stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. Free, yeah. It started with the Oakland Community School, free breakfast program, free lunch program. It started, you know, I participated in that. And, you know, like I said, you know, the 80s and the crack hit and all that wild shit that we was doing back then. And then you get to the 90s with Digital Underground and Tupac and all of that. So I was like, I'm bringing you from, you know, my book starts in 1969 before I was born, or 1968. And I bring you all the way through. So this is, you know, firsthand experience of what was going on throughout our history from the 60s all the way up to 2020. You know, I cut it off in 2020, you know, just because I wanted to put a period on it because so much happened. But, you know, I call myself almost like a hip hop Forrest Gump because there's a lot of things that happen in hip hop. I was actually present when these things happened, or I was privy to the information in real time. So you definitely want to check that out.
And that's already available?
It's not available. Just finished with the final edits. So it'll be out this year. It'll be out this year. So look for it. I give you a what do you call it? Like a pre-copy or early copy.
Please, man. Listen.
So
please, man. And can I bring you back just for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about nothing but that.
Yeah, when the book, yeah, that's why I want you to read it and bring me back, because afterwards we can talk about everything in it. You know, I don't want to give away the whole book, but yeah, you definitely want to check that out.
We'll make it sweet.
You know, musically, well, first and foremost, let me talk about touring. Myself and Yung Hump, we are the current touring iteration of Digital Underground. So, you know, we're Money B and Yung Hump. We record and do music as Money B and Yung Hump, but we tour and perform as Digital Underground. And doing that, you know, I put the responsibility on myself to, you'll be at a show. If I'm in Baltimore, I'll bring Mouse on stage. Fuck with me, you know what I mean? Or I might be at a show, Pee-wee will be up there playing, or in the Bay, FEUD, you know, I pull in all the members when I can. So it's Money B and Yung Hump, but it's Digital Underground. So you never know which original member you'll see on stage with us at any particular show. So that's why, you know, so each show is different. We do record, I'm recording music as Money B and Yung Hump. We got a single, F It Up, that we're releasing. It's going to come out this year, and it's also probably going to be released because originally we were going to release it as an NFT. If you're people familiar with the blockchain and the NFT. Yep. I'm also working on a Money B solo project, which might come in conjunction with the book. I already got some fire tracks. Like I wish I could play it for you right now. Shit's off the chain. And you know, and the reason I do that because Money B and Yung Hump is more in the spirit of Digital Underground. You know, we have messages, but we always fun and light, and it's about the party and keeping the whole DU vibe. When you get a Money B record is where I can be more introspective and talk about myself and talk about issues that maybe I don't want to force somebody else to have to talk about. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why there's a purpose for a Money B solo project. Because I also do records with my man Scott Knox out of Milwaukee. You know, we have a group called Mask, M-A-S-K, which stands for Money B and Scott Knox. Look out for that music as well. What else? Start a new podcast. Anybody that's familiar with me, that follow me, they know that I had the show and the podcast, the Going Way Back Show, Classic Hip Hop Raw and Uncut. You can still see all of those episodes on YouTube on the Going Way Back channel, Going Way Back Show channel. But starting a new podcast called With the Fellas is with myself and my partners, Neo Limiter and Jake, aka Eastside Chulo. And what the show is about, it's about obviously entertainment, Web3, and community. And so, and when I say Web3, you know, we talk about the blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, but also about what's happening with tech. My man Neo Limiter is, you know, he's the Web3 genius, right? So he'll take you down that rabbit hole talking about it. Obviously, my history in music and entertainment, and then Jake Eastside Chulo, you know, he comes from, his background is with you know, nonprofit and organization and doing things in the community, which all of it ties together, right? Because when we're talking about Web3, the blockchain, we're talking about financial literacy and making sure that us, people of color, don't get left behind when
we reinvest it.
And yeah, and just kind of like, but we'll say it in a way, you know, I'm always coming with the joke, right? Keep it light, but say it in a way that you understand. Instead of listening to some nerdy white dude acting like with his nose turned up, acting like he better than you because you don't know all the terminology. You know, we're there purposely to try to explain that and make it fun. You know, what was Chris say? Edutainment. You know, the goal is to entertain and give information, but to make it fun and palatable, something that you want to listen to. So look out for With the Fellas. It's a new podcast. It'll probably be launching in the next, you know, we're recording the first sort of season, but you know, you do the pilot episodes of it. And then we're rocking from there. Also, I'm involved with a Black-owned streaming company called Vyre Network. That's VYRE, Vyre Streaming Network. Y'all need to check that out. You know, that's got my hands in that. What else? I have an artist that I manage, Lil Mikey TMB from East Oakland. You know, he's out here doing his thing. His music is not what you expect to hear from East Oakland. That's all I'm gonna say. But you know, he's a talented artist, very well-rounded. Lil Mikey TMB. Make sure you check that out. Bro, oh shit. The merchandise, you know, I manage and control the Digital Underground merchandise. So, you know, you're going to get you a Digital Underground hat, Digital Underground t-shirt, Money B and Yung Hump. We out here, you know, and just so you know, you can only get official merchandise, Digital Underground merchandise from dumerch.com. So if it didn't come from dumerch.com or Digital Underground t-shirts, it's not official, it's bootleg. You know, so support the brothers. And actually, this included, you know, these are heat press garments. I actually make most of our gear myself personally. So not only are you getting Digital Underground gear, but you're getting it made by Digital Underground. So if you holler at your guy and you get some merch, I might even sign that shit for you. if by request, I do it.
Now tell them where they holler at you at though.
Oh, and once again, I'm sure I'm missing something because I keep my hands in everything. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Yeah, because I'm about to bust off with the gaming too. At MoneyB69. Yeah, I'm a gamer, man. But what I'm doing though, I'm playing. When I'm gaming, I'm taking it old school. All my shit is classic, man. I'm playing the Donkey Kong Jr. and the Miss Pac-Man and
all the shit I couldn't beat.
And the Frogger, you know what I mean? And the Joust and the Defender and the Asteroids.
So point blank fucking period. When you say a DU party, don't stop.
Because I don't stop.
You motherfucking mean it.
I keep it rocking.
Brother, I'm telling you, man. I'm waiting. I'm telling you, because when you was talking about the book, right?
Yeah.
You start bringing up the Oakland. You started bringing up the Bay Area, and you start bringing up talking about the Panthers and shit. All I saw in my head was the Panther movie. You remember that?
Yep.
Yo, and it's like that's one of my favorite fucking movies. It's the most underrated movie I think to ever exist. It had so many stars in that shit from like bottom to top, man. There's big stars now, man, but I can't wait to fucking read it, Money B. All I ask for you, brother, is to understand the light. And of course, you probably already do, but please continue to understand the light that you shine on this world through your history. Your history is rich, brother. Don't ever feel you're being too cocky. Sometimes, man, if you could knock a nigga out, you could knock a nigga out, right? Like, that's just point fucking blank. It's no reason for Tyson to act like I can't. He couldn't knock a nigga out. He really could knock niggas out.
Yeah,
right?
he's like I'll knock you out.
What the fuck it is, right? Like, so in Money B, I really got them fucking stories. Like, I'm really rich, man. They said your story is what makes you rich. It ain't about your money. It ain't about your goals. It ain't about none of the things that people could see.
Word.
It's about those pictures that only I could paint. Picasso is who the fuck he is because it's a picture that he painted that motherfuckers couldn't paint. Same thing with all these Rembrandts and everybody else that they out here buying it. Brother, you have a picture that only Money B could paint, and that's why you are a part of this show. That's why you are now inducted as family. To us, you were already family, man. But this right here, Cards Face Up Podcast, what we do in this segment, like I said from the beginning, we are about building memories. We don't do that just trying to fucking get people on here. Everybody that I got on here on this segment has been people I'm a fan of. I'm a fan. I want to hear their story. I was that guy to go inside. I hate where hip hop is at right now. Not because they might not be doing the music that I like. I hate the fact that it's not personal no more. I want to know your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your cousin. I want to bring that shit back when they talking about your family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know who you fuck with. We know where you at. We know shit like that.
I told you my birthday and my raps.
Real shit, right? Like, where's that at? Everything is so different, man. So when we invite you on here, brother, this is from a place of love. It's from a place of, we know that you got that work, basically, man. And when you say a motherfucking DU party don't stop, we waiting for the motherfucking train just so we can hop on, brother. That's real talk. Thank you for coming through. Money B, I wish you nothing but success, your family nothing but success and happiness, love, and joy, and all of those things. Cards Face Up, y'all already know what to do with us, man. I need y'all to like, subscribe, follow everywhere. YouTube, we are Cards Face Up TV, Cards Face Up Podcast. We have 2 pages. Make sure y'all follow both. Also, we are on all streaming platforms, Cards Face Up Podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google.
I was going to say it one more time in case they forgot. At MoneyB69. At MoneyB69. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. On Facebook is the Digital Underground fan page, and I check that. So if you want to holler at me, we on there. What else? Money B and Yung Hump on YouTube, right? So it's the Money B and Yung Hump YouTube channel, but it's also the Going Way Back Show YouTube channel, and that's Goin, GOIN, the Going Way Back Show, all one word. And just holler at your guy, man. I'm out here rocking.
Make sure y'all support Money B, Yung Hump, man. Shout out to Digital Underground. Shout out to fucking hip hop. This show was fucking hip hop, man.
Lastly, right, I'm gonna share with you because we're trying, and don't hold me to it, but we're trying to put together one last digital underground record, because obviously Shock left some unfinished things, and we're trying to get it together. And we already got commitments by a couple of cats that I'm pretty sure you would appreciate hearing, that already committed to rock if we put this thing together. So, we're trying to shine the light one more time for our brother Shock G, Digital Underground. Let the youngins know what it was.
Let the youngins know what it is. Fuck was. Was the past tense, man. What it is. It still is, because it's still moving.
Word.
Told you that motherfucking train, that those parliament type trains never stop. You feel me? That's that funkadelic shit that don't stop, man. That shit is an all ever. They even used to say that high was a long high, right? Like this shit is forever, man. So Digital Underground, Money B, rest in peace, Shock G, rest in peace, Tupac, rest in peace, East Coast that y'all fuck with, Big Pun, rest in peace, anybody that has lost their fucking life. More life to everybody that's out this motherfucker, still surviving and enjoying life. And make sure you get onto the Digital Underground train that's still going, because like he said, the DU party does not fucking stop. And
Never.
We out.